Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be fears that keep haunting the narcissist. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So, there are many fears that this person you're considering has. Actually, a very long list of fears that they never wanted you to know about. What they wanted to do is dump all their toxicity into you and have you be the one that's afraid. They wanted you to be the one thinking that you couldn't be without them. You needed them to live. You needed to be with them. You needed them to be near you. You couldn't fathom life without them, etc. Well, the truth is it was quite the opposite in the beginning and throughout the length of that relationship. You were in what was known as the trauma bond. Not only is the trauma bond real, I was there for quite a long period of time, and it is not a good place. It's not a place you want to be, even for 1 second, because this is when you are hoping that your abuser actually sprinkles a little bit of goodness in, but that is consistent. Now, what happens in the love bomb, which is the beginning of the narcissistic abusive cycle, this is when the narcissist sinks their dirty fangs into you. Second part is the devaluation stage, which is the length or the longest part of that relationship. The third part's the ending. And the fourth part at times is when the narcissist is trying to toy with people and attempt to hoover them or to test the temperature of the people. But that whole body beginning, that whole relationship and the abusive cycle beginning with the love bomb / euphoric stage, that's when the abuser did a lot of their work. This is when they were wearing the mask. This is where they were manipulating you. This is when they were casting shadows of doubt within your mind. Example, your clothes. Why are you wearing those clothes? Or why are you doing this? Or we should be doing this, or we could be moving here, or we could be doing, etc. They were slowly trying to mold you and groom you and trick you and trap you and have you believe that they had your best interest at heart. What they wanted to do in the beginning of this relationship is they wanted to get as close to you as possible, assimilate themselves with you, sink their dirty fangs into you, and begin to extract what is known as supply. Supply is you, or it was you, I should say. It was everything about you. It was your connections, your relationships, your money, your health, your time, your assets, your hopes, dreams, aspirations, your hobbies, if I didn't say that, and anything else that made you you. The narcissist slowly broke you down. They slowly chipped away at you insidiously. They slowly infiltrated your life and had you doubt yourself. And they wanted to cast all of their own uncertainties that they have within themselves into you. That was fuel. That's exactly what they accomplished. And they did a masterful job of this because they hadn't only done it with you. They had done it with many people before they met you. They did it with other people when they were with you, maybe not to the same level, but they're doing it right now too if they're still gallivanting the globe looking for other sources of supply, which I am certain that's what they're doing. Now, having said all these things, the fears that continue to haunt the narcissist, there are so many of them. Let's just take the first one, and these are in no particular order. First one is exposure. The narcissist doesn't want to be exposed. They don't want you exposing them. They don't want their office exposing them. They don't want the religious organization they're a part of exposing them. They don't want their kids exposing them. They don't want their immediate family members exposing them or anybody else. That's why once people finally figure out who these toxic people are, maybe even narcissistic, the one thing that they should not do is expose the narcissist. Now, this isn't to help the narcissist, by no means. It's because you don't want a bigger target on your back, number one. Number two, if you expose them, you're giving them energy. Number three, you'll be going down in the low vibrational quagmire state where they thrive, which is not native or natural to you. Number four, you'll stay stuck longer in that cycle or maybe a different part of it. There's nothing good about exposing the narcissist. I don't wish ill will upon anybody, ever. I haven't, and I won't, and I'm not going to start now. The narcissist will get what's coming to them, but at the top of that fear list within their tiny little brain that continues to haunt them, it's being exposed. Another thing they're afraid of is being irrelevant. Yes, not mattering to people. And you may say, well, why did you say that second, Andrew? I'll tell you why. Because in each and every video I create for almost 5+ years, I've said this exact line or something similar. Once you've identified that somebody that you know, or even the person you're considering is toxic, maybe even the narcissist, you need to not only get off the radar of them, but you need to go no contact. You need to block them. You need to delete them, remove them, and all flying monkeys and people associated with them. If not now, when? Now, if you've done that, you know what I'm talking about. You know it stings for a while, but it works. If you haven't done that, I strongly suggest you do it. Because when the narcissist realizes that you've figured out who they are, and they are no longer in your mind, they can't live in your mind rent-free, they're essentially irrelevant because you've reached that pinnacle of indifference, the mountaintop of indifference where you no longer care about them. They took their best shots at you, they tried to take you down for the count, but they failed. When you get there, then the narcissist will sustain a narcissistic injury. This channel that I've created almost 5 years ago, it's not about harming people, it's about helping people. It's not about staying stuck in the cycle, it's about breaking the chains of the narcissistic abusive cycle. It's not about saying, oh, I'm out, I've healed, and good luck to everybody else on the planet. And I did what I did what I had to do to get out of the cycle, and whatever, that's your problem. It's not about that. It's about paying it forward, which is what I do each and every day. And I started doing it March 31st, 2021, 5 months and 2 days after the discard. So when the narcissist no longer matters to you, which means you've healed or you're healing, but you recognize at the very least that even talking to them, even seeing a picture of them, even knowing anything about them is not going to help you out, and vice versa, they shouldn't know anything about you. When you realize that, that's a very powerful tool in your tool belt of insulation. And this is what you must do if you haven't done it. So that's another fear of the narcissist. It could be a multiple pronged fear there, which is irrelevancy. Also, when you go no contact, when you block them, and when you have nothing to do with them. So we discussed 2 of them so far. Another one would be when they have no more money, when they run out of money. Now again, I've shared this in so many videos over the years. What does the narcissist love more than money? They love your money. And when the money runs out, usually that's when the narcissist runs out, or when they've squirreled away enough of your money or their money, or one of their parents passed away and they inherited something and they hid it from you, or all the gold and silver they've been stashing over the years has finally gone up in price, and now they have a nest egg, but they've been living off you like a parasite for the last 8, 10, 15, 30 years. This is what they do. They will slither off onto wherever they go. Usually it is a new source of supply. Not always, but most times. Most times it's a recycled source of supply or a brand new shiny object, a new person who was probably who you were. It certainly was who I was. But they will go to somebody who's vulnerable, who's falling in love with the narcissist, who the narcissist is grooming, or a recycled source of supply who hasn't healed, or a familiar family member who leaves that door of toxicity open because they themselves are toxic and they need someone to bounce all their toxicity off of. The narcissist will go any which way the wind blows. You may have thought, well, why would they go off to a new source of supply when the new source of supply maybe doesn't have a job, or maybe they don't have the highest educational level, or maybe they don't have money, or maybe they're missing some other things. You need to understand the narcissist will go anywhere. It doesn't matter how you look, how much money you have, or what access you have. If the narcissist needs attention and supply, they'll go wherever they go, and usually they end up going down to that low vibrational quagmire state with people that are similar to them, meaning maybe toxic, maybe narcissistic, maybe have other concerns. I can't tell you and I don't care. But that's another fear of the narcissist, running out of money. Another fear of the narcissist is abandonment. What did the narcissist do to you over and over in that relationship? I can assure you they abandon you. Now you may say, no, they didn't abandon me once. Why would you even insinuate that, Andrew? Well, think about this. Think about all the plans that were broken up, that you made that never took place. You were abandoned. Think of all the airports you were stuck at that they didn't pick you up. You were abandoned. Think of all the times you were expecting them to pick you up from work during a hailstorm, a snowstorm, a hurricane, or a volcano, or whatever it was, and they weren't there because they claimed that they had a flat tire. They couldn't do it. They abandoned you. What about all the dinners that you cooked waiting for the narcissist to come home so you two would sit down? Sorry, that was not a curse on purpose. You would sit down or have dinner. But again, this is when you didn't know what toxic narcissism was, and they would claim that they were stuck in the office. You were abandoned. The narcissist has 2 sets of rules, one for themselves and the other for anyone else, which means they can do whatever they want to do, but once it's done to them, that's not acceptable. This is why these people are stuck in that childlike mentality. This is why they never fully developed. And this is why they have a long list of fears that continue to haunt them. And why I use the word haunt, it's because, think of what month we're in. We're coming up and approaching a holiday in the States, and maybe even more around the world now, can't tell you, called Halloween. Well, it was 2 days before Halloween, which was my favorite holiday years ago when the discard took place for me. And guess what? The haunts of that time frame will come back to roost for every narcissist on the planet, because it's not just about Halloween. It's about Christmas, it's about New Year's, it's about Thanksgiving and any other holiday or vacation or birthday or any other period of time. Because the narcissist can't escape themselves. They can run, but they can't hide. They can act like everything's going well for them, but it's not. They can put on the charm and the game face, and they can put on the fake eyelashes and have the rosy cheeks look glowing and everything and make it appear like everything's going great. Well, behind the scenes, they're living in a flea bag motel, infested with cockroaches. They haven't paid the rent in a couple weeks. They're driving someone else's car. There's no gas in it. There's no internet, and the cell phone is 2 months behind. It hasn't been cut off because the other source of supply just figured out who they were, and they're gonna cut it off tomorrow. This is how the narcissist lives. They're always juggling relationships. They're always running from the truth. They're always running from themselves. They're always hiding from reality. They're always trying to make it appear like they're living their best life when they're not. There's another video that I created years ago called FOMO, F-O-M-O. What that means is fear of missing out. When you're in the relationship, you were always thinking about the narcissist. You were thinking that you were missing out. You were wondering where they were. Maybe you only had one night a week you got to see them, or maybe it was 2 nights, or maybe it was the weekend, who knows? But you always look forward to that. Well, what happened when those times would be approaching? Sometimes they'd be blown up. Other times the narcissist would claim they were sick. Other times maybe you did have a good weekend once every 5 weeks or 15 weeks. But the point is, the less you had to give, the more they looked for your replacement. The more they looked for your replacement, the less they cared or paid attention to you, I should say, because they never cared about you. And the less they paid attention to you, the more you wanted to be with your abuser. That's the trauma bond. That's the narcissistic abusive cycle in a nutshell. That's why when you break the tethers, the 4 tethers, the emotional, the financial, the physical, and the spiritual tether, you need to really understand that that was a life-threatening, debilitating, taxing, challenging relationship. It almost took you down for the count, but it didn't, unlike so many other people in the past it had taken down. And all of these things I'm putting together for you, they culminate to one thing. These are all the ghosts of the past, the ghosts of the present, the ghosts of the dead, the ghosts of the living, the ghosts of former relationships, the ghosts of broken dreams, hopes, aspirations, goals, futures, the ghosts of not parenting properly, the ghosts of trying to destroy other people's lives, the ghosts of stealing people's money, the ghosts of cheating on people, the ghosts of abuse and manipulation and lies. They all come back to haunt the narcissist. And you may say, well, not really, because the person I'm considering, nothing affected them. They never even shed one tear. What they did is they just used to mock me and laugh at me and tell me don't cry and don't show emotions and everything. Well, that's probably all true, but what you don't understand or you're not recognizing is within them is a bottomless pit, and that pit needs to be filled with supply. You were a source of supply to them. That's why they did what they did, because you hung in there as long as you could have. Same as myself. You didn't know what you know now, and that's not your fault. Now you know, now you have to maintain your boundaries. You have to go no contact. You have to get off the radar and heal properly, simultaneously understanding the narcissist is going to get their karma. They're going to get their payback. They're going to get what's coming to them, but it won't come at your hands, and it shouldn't come at your hands. It won't come at my hands, and it will never come at my hands. You need to let the past go. You need to heal from the past. Take those lifelong learning lessons from the past, apply them in present day, not predict the future, not be spying on the narcissist social media, not be knowing their whereabouts, who they're with, what the new supply is up to, or anything else about them, because it's all a mirage. It's all a house of cards. It's all a foundation built on quicksand, just like your relationship was. The less you know about the narcissist, the better off you are. The less they know about you, the better off you are. The more you work on cutting those 4 ties, the stronger you will get. The stronger you get, the weaker they get. The weaker they get, the clearer your mind gets. The clearer your mind gets, the more you realize that these people have a closet full of fears. A closet full that you never could figure it out. You can never put them together because they appear to be so with it. They appear to have so many good friends and fancy restaurants and cars, and they were good at their job, because many of them are. Well, you have to remember, the narcissist wears multiple masks. It depends on which mask they're wearing for which audience. When they were with you and it was in the 4 walls of your house, they didn't have to wear a mask because they knew you were going nowhere. That's when you were caught up in the trauma bond. That's when they could abuse you day, morning, noon, and night, left, right, and center. This is when you would wake up in the morning, they'd be gone. You come home from work, they wouldn't be home. You'd be wondering who took the trash out, why all the dishes in the sink haven't been cleaned, why all the bills are falling on your lap, how come you have to put gas in the car, why every time you ask them, hey, let's go out to this restaurant, they say, sure, you can pick the restaurant. And then you say, okay, let's go to this place. And they're like, no, I don't want to go there. And then you say, what about this place? And you're like, no, I don't want to go there. And then you give in to them again and say, why don't you just pick it out? And they would say something to you like, wow, you can't even make a decision? Fine, we'll go to my favorite restaurant again, no problem. Then the next time, in a week or two, they would ask you again, hey, why don't you pick out the restaurant? You get so beaten down, you just say, no, it's fine, I'll drive, you can pick out the restaurant, it's okay. And then they look at you and they say, yep, broke him again, or broke her again. They don't even want to put up a fight because they know that I now have them under control. See, back then you didn't know what you know, so you need to be kind with yourself, be patient with yourself, and really understand that this is a journey. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. It will take time. It will take a lot of time, but in your time you will heal if you utilize the tools that I provide for you with each and every video, and from all the beautiful and knowledgeable comments from all over the globe, from all the people who have healed or who are healing. You see, at one point I was where you are. At one point I was known as what is the new supply. At one point I was the new shiny object. At one point I was naive. At one point I was a people pleaser. At one point I did not know that there were predators that walked around and could look the way they looked, meaning appealing to the eye. Well, now I recognize and realize that not everything that glitters is gold. Not only that, but there is gold out there. It's certainly not any within the narcissist. There's fool's gold. That is the narcissist. And just because something may look alluring doesn't mean it is. It's not what's outside that matters. It's what's inside. And very few people take the time to appreciate the levels of empathy or emotional intelligence or connection or understanding or patience or listening or gratitude that other people have. The narcissist is an apex predator. They want to take, and when they're done, what do they want to do? That's right, they want to take more. They took their best shot at you, but they did not succeed because you're here and you're getting your cup full. So before I close the video, you need to understand fears of the narcissist that continue to haunt them. I gave you 3 or 4 there, maybe even 5. There are probably another 60 that I could come up with in a second. These people are anxiety riddled. They're running from the law. They're running from their spouses. They're running from their people they're cheating with. They're running from the spouses of the people they cheated on. They're running from their jobs. They're running from the tax man. They're running from the neighbors. They're running from anyone who figures out who they are. And guess what? As I'm creating this video and you're getting stronger, the narcissist has fewer and fewer places to run to because we, the collective consciousness, are becoming more and more awakened and aware, educated and empowered. And we're understanding that there is no room in our lives for toxicity. So whereas in the past it was advantage narcissist, now it's advantage empath. And you may say, well, really, no, I'm still not in a good spot. That just means there's work to be done. Remember what I shared with you earlier. I was where you are. I got myself out by myself against all odds during a pandemic, the worst period of time in my entire life. I'm not so sure about yours, but perhaps it was. But I did it against all odds. And guess what? Guess what I have to fear right now? Absolutely nothing. Neither do you. So break the chains of the narcissistic abusive cycle. Begin now. If not now, when? Leave these people in the past. Go no contact. Maintain your boundaries and heal properly. These people are sinking ships. They're ticking time bombs and they will never change. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. I love you all. Have a great day. Have a great afternoon or evening or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you all. God bless you. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. One of the main pitfalls that people have when they are out of the relationship and healing, when they figure out what narcissism is, this is the key, is they still feel bad for the narcissist. They still feel an allegiance to them or loyal to them or that they can help them or they should help them or are they going to be okay? You need to let all that go. If the person you're considering is an adult and they can maintain a job, or if they are of age to, let's say, vote or join the military, they're going to be fine. What they did is they needed a host, and that host was you, but it can't be you any longer. If you give these people an inch, they'll take a mile. If you give them a mile, They will take the circumference of the earth, which I don't know how much that is. You can't give them anything, which includes access to your time, knowing anything about you, your energy, or more. You need to get off the radar of these people and let them slither off onto wherever they go, as long as they stay away from you. Just stay away from you. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Bye.